I got my camera set up back after several days of dealing with a new computer and uh, having to fix my camera and having to deal with frame rate issues. I now seem to have resolved all of those issues now, and I've got my nice looking 4K camera set back up again. We're going to talk politics today. I know you guys love it, and I love it too. So we have got several different things going on. I'm going to point to them in a second. I'm going to try a new gallery scene with some browser image. But first, let's just talk about a couple of things that have been going on in the last couple of days since the last time I shot a video. First of all, Greg Bovino, the head of ICE that has been operating in Minneapolis, who's about 3 foot 8 inches tall, wearing Nazi coats, has finally been relieved of duty. He has been sent back to California, where it is much expected that he will be retiring from duty, and that is fantastic. Along with that, Kristi Noem has suddenly disappeared from view. She did an interview with ABC News, I believe, a couple of days ago or yesterday morning, something like that, essentially throwing Trump under the bus, and then has disappeared from view. Rumor has it she spent about 2 hours, her and her chief of staff spent about 2 hours in the White House talking with Trump yesterday. In the meantime, Homan, the director of Homeland Security, I believe that's what his job is, or maybe not. No, maybe he's the borders. He's the border czar. Sorry, border czar. He has been sent to Minneapolis. He has already met with governor and the mayor of Minneapolis. So that's the big deal on that. And then yesterday, a representative, House Representative Omar, had a man spray some liquid on her, and she was doing a town hall, and this gentleman walked up, had what looked like a basting syringe, and sprayed a liquid on her that people in the area said smelled a lot like vinegar. Of course, the man was very quickly detained and arrested, but Donald Trump being Donald Trump, he decided he was going to make a statement. Actually, let me just pull up what it was again that he said, because I'm forgetting right off the top of my head. I just got to go into my own profile here, and I can let you know what it was that he said. It was quite egregious, as a matter of fact. So his statement was, and I quote, I think she's a fraud. I really don't think about that. She's probably had herself sprayed knowing her. I'm going to read that to you again. I think she's a fraud. I really don't think about that. She probably had herself sprayed knowing her. Again, he's talking about Representative Ilhan Omar. She is well known because she's been a very vocal critic of Donald Trump over the last several years. This feels like projection to me. We have a gentleman who was supposedly the victim of an attempted assassination last year. Yeah, 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago. And where he was nicked in the ear. And yet, to this day, there is no lasting damage to his ear. So my guess is that maybe he's projecting just a little bit with that one. I am going to go back over to this real quick here. So we're going to switch over and take a look at some of this stuff here. This one, coming out of the BBC, talks about federal agents that were involved in the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis have been placed on leave. Of course, no accountability, no names released. No indication that there's an investigation happening in which there may be charges. They're simply taking them off the field. That's great. There's an evaluation here on NBC. I saw this article earlier. I've not actually read this yet. How Trump decided to shift his strategy in Minnesota from the politics desk. You know how he decided to shift his policy? I'll tell you. It's real simple. We're winning. For the last year, at this point now, actually a year, I have had people in my daily life who come to visit me in my office ask me questions about how I feel about what's happening with the choices over the course of the last year, whether it was Elon Musk and Doge firing people left and right and wholesale eliminating some vital systems that our federal government uses in its bureaucracy to keep our country running, or whether it was the mass deportations and people being sent to essentially what could be called concentration camps in countries like El Salvador. Ignorance and denial of decisions by judges throughout the course of the last year. A lot of stuff like that that's been going on. And I get a lot of questions about what are we going to do? with a minority in the House and a minority in the Senate, and judges, a lot of judges that were handpicked by Trump to be in their roles, a clearly corrupt Supreme Court, at least two of them just purely and clearly have been influenced by donor money from conservative billionaires in order to make sure that they rule in the favor of conservative causes. That's the question. What are we going to do? What's going to happen? How are we going to get out of this? And I have been saying for a while that we cannot, in this time, in this place, rely on elected officials. They don't have any actual power. Cory Booker did his grandstanding last year, in which he did his 24, 40 hour, however long it was now, it's kind of been lost to time. But he sat there and filibustered on the floor of the Senate for an extended period of time, just in order to raise awareness and say, hey, I'm doing something, right? And I vocally applauded him at the time, because even though there was not going to be an empirical effect from the work that he was doing and the trauma that he put his body through by standing there and talking continuously for all that time, what it is good at doing is essentially the equivalent in politics of the placebo effect that you find in medicine. While it doesn't actually do anything, if the people that are receiving it believe in it, then it can work. And what that did, and what the No Kings marches do, and what the people on the street of Minneapolis do, is they are seen. So that people like you and I that watch this stuff on television, or see the news stories online, or see the accounts on social media, be it Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, or wherever, being a part of it is what motivates all of us to recognize that there are millions of people out there that are supporting democracy, that we have allies around the world who know what's happening here in the United States, and they understand that it doesn't represent all of us. And it's easy when you're looking at posts by bigots and angry conservative people, and a lot of it is just people that don't understand how the process works, that are just angry at feeling like they're not really represented, at feeling like for the last decade everything has been about minorities and small special project groups, and that the average American has been lost somewhere in all the noise. And those people are so full of anger right now, it's going to take a continental shift of the political movements in this country for them to feel like they've been represented again. So it is not our job right now. Right now, it is our job to make sure that we don't lose the last foundational pillars of our democracy here in this country. And being seen is what matters. Standing up to bullies is what matters. And you know what? Renee Good and Preddy, they are martyrs. They are martyrs in the cause of democracy. In a 250-year-old experiment that is now being assaulted from within its own house of power in a way that it has never been before. Average, everyday Americans in Minneapolis, Minnesota, have become the foundational backbone of our democracy. And it's giving rise and influence and hope and something to look forward to the rest of us. The people that are in power right now, that want to effectively take this authoritarian control of our country, the authors of Project 2025, they want us all to live in fear. They want us all to just be sick and tired of the noise. They want us all to give up and just say, fuck it, it's not worth it. But it is. In protests in small towns, liberal and conservative, all over this country, in red states and blue states and everywhere in between, people are standing on street corners and driving their cars in parades and screaming at the top of their lungs and posting on social media and resharing videos and just expressing their anger about everything that's going on, and they hear it. Republicans in the Senate and Republicans in the House And Republicans in the White House hear it. And Donald Trump was forced to change tack. He was forced to replace Bovino. He's been forced to sideline Kristi Noem and try something new, because what he was doing got punched right back in his face. In the same way that the world leaders in Davos told him to go fuck himself, the American people are doing it too. In the same way you stand up to any kind of bully from the schoolyard to the White House, you punch them back in their face. I'm proud of this country right now. I'm a veteran of the United States military. I served in the Marine Corps from 1994 to 1998 in active duty. I love this country. And that is a mistake. That is a mistake that a lot of conservatives are making right now. That progressives and liberals, from socialists to whatevers, that we just don't love this country. But that could not be farther from the truth. Because if I didn't love this country, I would leave. I have the means. I have the financial ability. I have the freedom. My kids are grown adults. I could very easily leave this country, but I'm not. I'm staying here and I'm fighting. And I'm not hiding behind the role that I have as a business leader, like a lot of the corporations. Now, I will give credit. Some of them are starting to speak up, and that's great. And I understand with the corporations to a certain extent, because, you know, a lot of their choices, marketing choices over the last few years have been in support of minority groups, and the general middle class, white, average American Christian, yada, 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 they were angry. And those corporations saw, you know, financial woes because of some of the choices that they made. But now they're speaking up, because even they recognize that what's happening right now puts all of us at risk. I don't want to live in Russia. I don't want to live in Brazil. I don't want to live in the Philippines. I'm pretty happy with the United States of America that I grew up with. I'm pretty happy with the United States of America that I chose to swear an oath to protect the Constitution and to defend this country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. And they will have you believe that Preddy and Renee Good were terrorists, but we know better, because we can see. We can use critical thinking and common sense and recognize that in a way that we have never seen before, our own United States government is lying to us. Greg Bovino and Kristi Noem thought it was okay to walk out in front of cameras at a podium and lie and say that they were trying to kill agents, federal employees, that they were trying to incite violence. You can watch the videos. You know, and if you are one of the conservatives, non-MAGA conservative, but maybe you're just like, you can't figure all this out. It doesn't make sense that our government would do this. This is not the country I was raised in. You need to really look. Really look. Let your eyes and your brain tell you the truth, because it's right there. I have faith. I did a video a couple of weeks ago about how I still have hope. And that was a couple of weeks ago that I felt that we were moving in the right direction, that his grasp on power, this megalomaniac hold that he had, was slipping. And it looks that way more today than it ever has before. There's another No Kings rally coming up in March. Keep an eye out for the social media on that. We need as many people as we can on the streets. Because we're sending a message, remember. We're not just trying to send a message to the White House, because I don't think Donald Trump gives a shit. I think Donald Trump is actually sheltered from a lot of the real news that's going on. And I think even if he's not, I think like many other narcissists, he sees it and just thinks that people are confused and they just don't understand how he's really thinking. Somehow they're wrong. But everybody else sees. Republicans in the Senate see. Republicans in the House see. Leaders of the free world, Europe, Asia, South America, they see that people in the United States are rising up in the millions and saying enough is enough. We don't want kings here. We elect presidents for 4 or 8 years, not kings for life. My name is Christopher Hess. I want to thank you very much for watching again tonight. As always, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow me if you're on TikTok. Like this video on both TikTok and Facebook. And follow my page on Facebook, The Christopher Hess Show. I really do appreciate it. I've been picking up some more and more viewers here and there. I expect this to be a slow growth. You know, there is a lot of saturation, especially of small people like me that are just making daily videos. But I'm doing this, as I've said 1,000 times, I'm doing this for me as much as I am for you. And if you can get anything out of the things that I talk about each day, I'd appreciate you sticking around and continuing to watch my videos. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Hey, thanks again for watching The Christopher Hess Show. I'm really glad you took the time to watch. Now, if you liked what you saw, you can click right here. This will help you subscribe to my channel. Or you can click over here for a video that YouTube thinks is one you would like to watch. Once again, thanks for watching and have a great day.